Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new here, my name is Hannah and I post weekly wellness, health and women's health and everything in between videos. In today's video I thought I would talk about my progression, slow progression may I add, into yoga and how coming from somebody who really hated the thought of yoga a few months ago, I thought I would kind of share how I have now got into a routine of yoga and how I do it every single day during the week, because I know that has been a bit of a hot topic on my Instagram page. So yeah, today's video is just really how I started to get into yoga, what I did when I wasn't enjoying yoga, and how I'm now sticking to a weekday plan and how I'm actually really loving it. I never ever thought I would be making a video like this. Yoga has never been my thing. I've never been somebody who likes slow and self-care kind of exercise routines. But now I feel like my mindset has massively changed over the past few months towards looking after your body, and I've already started seeing the benefits of doing yoga 5 days a week. Last year during lockdown I decided to take up running and I actually had a goal to run my first half marathon, but some of you may be aware that I do suffer from a hormonal imbalance, and trying to run a half marathon completely upset my balance, my hormones even more. If you want to know more about that, I will link some of my blog posts below to those, and check out my video about why I came off Adaptive Pill that has a bit more detail into that. But yeah, I knew that I had to start incorporating some fitness and exercise routines into my weekly schedule that was more self-caring and nourishing towards my body. And to be honest, I really didn't have a choice. All the professionals that I have been seeing about my hormones have suggested that I really just need to start doing more slowed down versions of exercise, yoga, and I knew it was something that I had to do for my body. So I think it was November time I started a 30-day challenge with Yoga with Adriana, and I really slogged through that. I have nothing against Adriana herself. I think her YouTube channel is fantastic, but for me personally, coming from a background of CrossFit, intense training and weightlifting, it just wasn't the best introduction to yoga for me, and I think I still needed that element of strength and something a little bit faster paced. So I slogged through that, and I think I got to about day 18 and I just saw myself becoming so inconsistent with doing yoga. I think I started 4 days a week, then it went down to 3 days a week, and then 1 day a week and completely just nothing. I think it was about 2 weeks where I did no yoga, and then I kind of gave myself a kick up the bum, and I completely just reminded myself that it wasn't a problem necessarily with yoga, it was a problem with my routine and what I was trying, which brings me on to my next point and why it wasn't working. I think once I realised that, it was so much easier for me to then change my mind around yoga, and once I'd realised that, it really allowed me to realise what I was doing wasn't working for myself, and then I kind of worked a new plan that would help me get to my goal of doing yoga a good amount weekly. So I suppose that brings me on to my first tip of how to start yoga and how to stick to it. I think that was my first problem going into that 30-day challenge with was that, first of all, the flow just wasn't my kind of thing. It was not my cup of tea at all, and while I love Adriana, she was just a bit too chill and slow paced for me, and I think it was, to be honest, while I'm not a pro at yoga at all, it was a bit too beginners. And I think where I have done previous yoga classes before, I just needed a level up from that. So what I should have done instead of slogging my way through that challenge was find a different yoga instructor on whatever I was using. I was using YouTube, but you may use something else, and try that instructor and a few classes with them. I think give yourself a few days, 3 or 4 days, and if you don't end up feeling like you're excited to do that yoga flow in the morning or evening, whenever you do it, then try something new. So for me, that was the 30-day challenge. By giving myself a challenge to stick to, it not only motivates me, but also it gives me a complete free plan that I do not have to think about at all. I can literally roll out of bed. Even though I do yoga in the evenings, I can roll off of my desk from work and go straight onto my mat and not even think about what I'm doing. And for me, that was just a no-brainer, because I think as well, if you're not massively into yoga, you're not gonna put the time and effort into planning it. And when you're actually planning a week worth of workouts, it can take up a lot of time. So my tip would be to follow a free plan, because there are so many out there that you don't even have to think about, and you can just keep yourself accountable. Another thing I also did was to just write down at the start of the week every single day which I plan to do yoga. And if you're starting out, I would suggest 2 or 3 a week, or even 1. Something realistic for you to work to is so much more easier for you to stay motivated on and to just wake up and think, I can do that today. So I actually started off doing 2 or 3 a week, and I would just jot down the days that I would be doing that, and then on Monday morning I would write that into my to-do list, and then by the end of the day I tick that off. I am a to-do list worshipper. So for me, this was finishing work every day, because obviously I go to work and I finish work. Luckily, I get to work from home, so I can just roll off of my office chair and then walk upstairs and my mat is already laid out for me. I think if you are doing it in the morning and you can, just roll out of bed and go straight onto your mat. Or if you're having breakfast first, which is already an existing habit, do yoga after that. By adding a new habit that you want to achieve onto a habit that already exists, such as having your breakfast, having your morning coffee, brushing your teeth, something that you do religiously every day, by popping a new habit that you want to work towards onto a habit that already exists is going to make it so much more achievable for you to do. And once you kind of have those few days where you've successfully done that new habit that you're trying to build up, it's just so much more easier. That's the only way I can explain it. And I know a few people out there, Jay Shetty and Dr. Chatterjee, talk about this so much, and it's something that inspired me to try it, and it's so far been very successful. If you're finding that this isn't working for you and you've had a few days and you just can't seem to get into it, the chances are your routine is not working for you. So I first started trying to do yoga in the mornings and it was just a complete failure. I either slept in or I prioritized something else, and instead of admitting defeat, I actually just switched up my routine and it worked so much better. And I think a lot of us just think, oh, that's not for me, I've tried it, it doesn't work. And actually you just need to look at the inputs that you're doing to get to that goal rather than the output. And sometimes those inputs, the way we're working to get towards our goal, or say your plan, just isn't working, so you need to reevaluate it. If your goal to start getting off with yoga is to do it 5 times a week and you've never done yoga in your life before, chances are you're not going to get to that goal. If you do, hats off to you. But you may just find that setting the benchmark of 5 days a week is just a little too and you're probably better off doing 2 or 3 flows a week. And maybe if you want to be more active active and you're thinking, oh, that's just not enough for me, then do something else. I think that was my problem as well, starting off with yoga, is I put too much into it. I was thinking I'm going to do yoga 5 times a week, and because I've always been quite a high energetic person and I've always loved to do my workouts and feel like I've really worked my body that day, I went straight in and was like, I'm going to do yoga 5 times a week. But because I wasn't in the position where I liked yoga at the time, I wasn't motivated to do it at all, and I kind of felt like a failure every time it got towards the end of the week, and I was like, I only did it once or twice in the week, and then that led me to think that I didn't like yoga and it just wasn't for me. But actually my goals just weren't realistic, and I just went back to my plan, I adjusted it, and I made it work for me. You've tried all of that, then it's to keep searching, because you have just not found the yoga flow for you. And believe me, there are so many yoga flows out there that I did not realise. There is so much to yoga. You've just got to keep searching what is going to work for you and what isn't, and perhaps you have found the kind of yoga style that you like, but you just haven't found the instructor that you kind of have a vibe with. I've been doing a lot of yoga on Alo Yoga's YouTube channel, and the great thing about that is they have so many different instructors. And the 30-day challenge that I am doing at the moment, which is called Mindful Movement, I think it's 30 days of summer, while I love the challenge, there are some days where I'm like, I just didn't gel with that instructor, and while I like the flow, it's made a mental note for me to think, okay, I liked that flow that I did, but I just didn't vibe with the instructor, so in future classes I will search for that flow, but I just won't do it with that instructor. And I think that is the perfect way of figuring out what works for you. And I think as well, like, if you're doing a yoga flow that's over 30 minutes and you're 10 minutes into it and you're just not liking that instructor, don't waste your time, just switch it up. I just think life is so short as it is. We do not have to put ourselves through workouts or exercise routines that we just don't enjoy, because at the end of the day it's just not going to make us want to go back to that. And if yoga is something that you really want to get into because of the health benefits, or you want to get more flexible, or it's just something you want to try, then you've really got to make it work for you. I think that, to be honest, is everything that has helped me get to where I am now. I think yesterday I worked out it took me approximately 70 days to get into a consistent pattern with yoga, doing it throughout the week, and I'm now at a place where I can do yoga happily 5 times a week and really still enjoy it. Yes, it may just be 30 minutes a day, but I'm still doing something that works for me, that keeps me coming back to do more. So through all that trial and error, I've now found the types of flows that I really like. I know the instructors that I really like. I know that challenges work best for me, so 30-day challenges, free challenges on YouTube. And I know what time of day works best for me as well, doing it at the end of my work day where I can completely chill out and just let go of the day. I hope you found this video somewhat helpful and inspires you to either start yoga or just keep persevering. I promise you will get there. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will catch you guys later.